Danny phased into a jewelry store. Seeing the merchandise floating, he comments that he thought flying off the shelves was just an expression, as we see a familiar-looking truck located outside through the window. Danny then blasts the group with his ghost rays, showing 3 ghosts along with 1 ectoneurite, and they all began to fight. They throw Danny around and attack him with living tattoos and the like, with him putting up a ghost shield and trying to focus his ecto energy through it, creating a blast that knocked them back and made the one with the tattoos crash into one of the cases, breaking it and setting off the alarm. Later on, we see Sam dealing with her parents and Danny walking in telling her that he's gotten that CD she wanted for her. But a commercial with a guy called Freak Show on it comes on, telling them to come and cross over to the dark side with the staff affecting Danny, as he'd seemed to be hypnotized, but Sam quickly snaps him out of it, the two ditching first period to go check out the opening ceremony. Danny's ghost sense goes off, and we see the crew from earlier stealing a bunch of money, and so he changed into his ghost form unbeknownst to him, being watched as the familiar truck was in the background again. He'd blasted the ghosts with the cops following after them, and made them drop the money, though Danny quickly grabbed all of the dropped loot and flew down to the cops, phasing the money into the back seat of the squad car before flying off after them. The group got away, but Danny spotted Sam and so flew down, changing back to human behind some oil barrels, and told her that the ghosts got away. He figured he was late anyway, might as well just ditch, and watch the opening ceremony with her instead. They did watch the ceremony, but were surprised when a Vulpamancer attacked Freak Show and Danny changed into his ghost form again without anyone noticing. He tried to fight, but the truck from earlier pulled up in front of Danny as a Ravonagander told him not to interfere, holding up a plumber badge. Danny questioned if they were plumbers, to which they'd answered that they were, and Freak Show was a wanted criminal with the ectoneurite and a bunch of ghosts attacking the Vulpamancer as the Ravonagander got out of the truck to help his friend. Danny basically said to hell with it and joined in, helping them fight off Freak Show's ghosts, blasting them once more and putting up a ghost shield around the 3 of them. Freak Show commanded them all to attack the plumbers, and Danny's eyes changed to the same swirling red as the orb on his scepter and began attacking them as the ringmaster began to get out of there, his ghosts following, with Danny about to attack the plumbers, but Sam jumped in front of them, making Danny hesitate and fly off, following Freak Show. Sam questioned what that was about, and the Ravonagander told her that Freak Show seemed to be able to control ghosts, even alien ones, and halflings such as Danny. This confused her as she asked what they meant, but the Vulpamancer changed back to human form, telling her that they were aware of Danny Fenton's powers to become half-ghost, because they were watching him for some time now. The Ravonagander introduced himself as Rook Blanco, and told her that the one beside him was Albedo Tennyson, the younger brother of the famous Ben 10. They were there on mission to take down Freak Show and his minions. There is no fighting between Sam's parents and Danny's parents, however, as Rook deputized Sam so that she could help them without getting into trouble. Freak Show introduces the Grim Reaper as a part of the newest edition, and Sam watches with Rook and Albedo covered in cloaks and hoods, which wasn't suspicious given where they were. They even had Tucker come in to help. Sam says that she'll look for Danny and slips away, going to the performers only tent, Freak Show appearing behind her and asking just what she was doing back there, and she'd said that she was looking for her boyfriend who wandered off and was acting a little strange. They tell her that's just about everyone there, and the Reaper walks out, with Freak Show telling them to get back out there, but they pull down their hood recognizing Sam, the ringmaster surprised by him showing free will, but quickly taking control again and having Danny later drop Sam from the tightrope, though Albedo quickly changed into Wildvine and grabbed her before she hit the ground. Rook then goes after Freak Show, who commands the ghosts to protect him again, with the performers revealing themselves as the ghosts and ectoneurite, before attacking Rook, who was declaring that Freak Show was under arrest. Meanwhile, Danny was trying to snap out of being controlled and managed to blast the ectoneurite before becoming entranced again. After being blasted, Rook used a device to capture the ectoneurite, which meant that they only had the ghosts left. the one with the tattoos protecting Freakshow and helping him escape, as the other two were still fighting Wildvine and Rook. Danny finally snapping out of it, he helped to capture them using the Fenton thermos, which he'd started carrying with him at all times. That only left Freakshow and the ghost with the tattoos to be dealt with, as Wildvine changed back to Albedo, and Rook told Danny that the staff seemed to be how Freakshow was controlling them and the other ghosts. They should focus on taking them out. Danny agreed to help out since he didn't like being brainwashed by them. Rook then deputized Danny and Tucker as well, with Danny telling them that he knows where they were going next. Deciding to set them up, they waited for Freakshow and its remaining ghosts to appear, and when they did, they'd almost blasted the ghost with the thermos as they flew out of its path and phased out of the building. Danny was about to go after them, but Freakshow commanded him to attack the others using the scepter. This caused Danny to let the tattoo ghost get away. While everyone else was distracted with stopping Danny, Tucker was actually the one who snuck up behind Freakshow and grabbed the staff. The two then struggled, fighting over it, which made them accidentally smack it against the corner of the nearby doorway, cracking the orb as its power began to seep out. No longer being under their control, Danny then blasted the orb on the staff, breaking it completely as Albedo, as forearms, grabbed a Freakshow and pinned them down, with Rook putting them in stasis cuffs. Realizing the time, Tucker said that their parents were going to kill them, but Rook agreed to speak with them so as to keep them out of trouble. We later see Rook explaining that Danny and his friends were deputized members of the organization they belonged with, and that they were taken along as a ride-along for part of their training. This confused their parents, but Albedo simplified, telling them that basically Sam and her friends were starting their training to become officers of the law, which in turn caused their parents to relax and actually say that they are happy that they weren't going down the wrong path. Rook giving them the papers needed to sign in order to sign up for going to the academy, before finally leaving with Albedo.